Ethan Ward was not a hero. He was just a quiet human mechanic who worked night shifts at an old, forgotten observatory on the edge of town. Most nights were slow, cold, empty. He usually fixed broken satellite parts, cleaned dust from screens, and listened to the wind outside. But tonight was different. At exactly 2:13 a.m., every monitor in the observatory flickered. The lights dimmed, then glowed bright blue. Ethan looked up, confused. No maintenance schedule was planned. No storm outside. Nothing that could explain this. Then a sound came through the speakers, soft at first, like someone breathing. Ethan leaned forward. A voice broke through the static. "Please, help us." Ethan froze. The voice was young, scared, gentle, and definitely not human. He stared at the screen as strange symbols moved across the display. Earth computers were not built to show alien language, but somehow they did. Another whisper followed. "My name is Princess Lyra. My planet is dying. Please. Ethan, help me." His heart stopped. She said his name. No one outside Earth should know he existed. No one should have access to the old observatory signal at all. "How does she know me?" he whispered to himself. The signal grew stronger. A broken hologram appeared. A young alien woman with glowing blue eyes, silver marks on her cheeks, and fear in every breath. Her clothes were torn, her hair messy, her hands shaking like she had been running for days. Behind her, explosions flashed. Shadows moved. Something hunted her. Ethan stepped back from the screen. This should not be real. Aliens did not exist, or at least, that's what people believed. The hologram glitched again. They destroyed our defenses. They corrupted our sky. "Please, human Ethan, we need someone who can resist the energy. Only your kind can survive the core. I beg you." Suddenly the observatory floor shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. A loud boom echoed outside, like something heavy had landed on Earth. Ethan rushed to the door. The cold night air hit his face. In the distance, a trail of smoke rose from the forest. A crash site. Then he saw it. A small silver pod glowing with alien patterns, half buried in the ground. He approached slowly, fear twisting with curiosity. The pod opened by itself, releasing a soft white light. Inside lay a crystal key, warm like living fire, and a tiny map showing the dark side of the moon. Ethan swallowed hard. This was no dream. Before he could think, a deep metallic growl rolled through the trees. Something moved in the darkness, large, heavy, mechanical. Red eyes flashed like burning stars. Whatever hunted the princess had come to Earth. The hologram inside the observatory played again, louder, breaking, desperate. "Ethan, they found me. Please, hurry." His entire body shook, but he understood one thing. This SOS was not sent to Earth by mistake. It was sent to him. And now, he had a choice. Ignore it, or save a world he had never seen. Ethan did not sleep. He did not even think clearly. The crystal key in his hand felt alive, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Every time it warmed, he heard the princess's last broken words again. "Ethan, please, hurry." He packed nothing except a small oxygen tank, a toolkit, and the alien key. His mind kept repeating the same thought. If she reached him from across the stars, she must be desperate. He drove fast toward the abandoned launch station outside town. Years ago, the place had been used for small lunar missions, but now it was a graveyard of rust and silence. Ethan knew the codes, knew the old systems, knew how to bring a forgotten ship back to life. He had worked here before everything shut down. He entered the control room. Dust covered every screen. Thick wires hung from the ceiling. But when he placed the crystal key on the console, everything lit up. Blue lines of alien symbols slid across Earth-built machines. The ship hummed with power it never had before. Ethan stayed in shock. The key was rewriting the technology, activating systems humans had never designed. "Okay, I guess we're doing this," he whispered. Within minutes, the small shuttle lifted off the ground. The engines roared. The metal shook. The Earth shrank under him as he shot into the dark horizon of space. The crystal map guided him, not to the normal landing zone on the moon, but deeper toward a shadowed crater humans always avoided. There, hidden behind rock and darkness, stood something impossible. A giant stone archway, carved with glowing symbols, floating above the lunar surface like a portal waiting for a key. Ethan stepped out of the shuttle with his breathing tank. The ground was silent. The stars looked sharp and cold. As he approached the arch, the crystal key vibrated again. A deep rumble followed. The archway opened like a flower made of light. A swirling blue gate appeared, spinning with stars and strange galaxies. It felt like the universe itself had bent to make a door. Ethan hesitated. One step and he could die. One step and he might save her. He took the step. Light swallowed him. When the brightness faded, Ethan gasped. He was standing on another world, Aurelia. Floating islands drifted in the sky. Trees glowed with silver veins. Rivers shimmered like mirrors. Strange bird with crystal wings circled above. Everything felt unreal and beautiful. Then he heard footsteps. Ethan turned. There she was, Princess Lyra. Alive, breathing, staring at him with wide, glowing eyes as if she couldn't believe a human actually came. You answered my SOS, she whispered, her voice shaking. Ethan nodded. You asked for help. Before she could speak again, a sharp whistle cut the air. A hunter drone burst through the bushes, black metal, red eyes, spinning blades ready to kill. Lyra stepped back in fear. Ethan grabbed her arm. Run! They sprinted through silver grass as a drone fired beams of burning light. Lyra looked at him with shock and something else. Respect. No human should be this brave, she breathed. Ethan replied without looking back. No princess should fight alone. Ethan and Princess Lyra kept running until the hunter drone finally lost their trail. They stopped near a tall cliff where glowing vines spread like soft blue fire across the rocks. Lyra placed a hand on the vines, and the light dimmed, almost like it bowed to her. Ethan watched, breathless. Your planet is alive. She nodded. Aurelia is connected through energy. Every river, every tree, every creature is linked. When the core collapses, all of this will die. Her voice trembled. Ethan could see how much he loved this place. It made the danger feel heavier. She motioned for him to follow. They walked toward a floating bridge made of stone circles. Each circle rose and moved slowly, like stepping stones drifting in the air. Ethan stepped carefully, but Lyra moved like she belonged to the wind. When they reached the other side, she finally spoke the truth. 1,000 years ago, an ancient empire created a machine to control our planet's energy. They believed they could shape worlds with it, but the machine corrupted everything it touched. She pointed toward a distant black tower, tall and sharp, stretching into the clouds like a wound in the sky. That tower is where the machine sleeps. For centuries, my people kept it sealed, but now it is waking. Ethan stared at the tower. Even from far away, he felt a cold pulse coming from it. Dark, angry, hungry. Why me? Ethan asked softly. Why send the SOS to a human? Lyra looked at him, her eyes glowing slightly brighter. Because humans can survive the machine's corruption. Our bodies absorb energy. Yours resist it. We lose our strength near the tower, but a human might stay alive long enough to shut it down. Ethan swallowed hard. He was just a mechanic, not a soldier, not a hero. But she continued, voice gentle. The SOS was supposed to reach someone strong. Someone brave. Someone with a heart that does not break. She paused. I did not know it would reach you. But now, I am glad it did. Ethan felt something warm rise in his chest. Maybe fear, maybe something else. But their moment did not last. The ground beneath them shook. A burst of red energy shot into the sky from the dark tower. Birds screamed and scattered. Trees bent. The air turned sharp and heavy. It's accelerating, Lyra whispered. We're running out of time. She grabbed his hand without thinking and pulled him into a hidden tunnel carved through crystal rock. As they ran, Ethan noticed the walls glowing brighter behind a touch, almost guiding their path. He finally asked, those drones, who controls them? Lyra's face darkened. The corrupted machine. It creates hunters from anything it touches. And it wants one thing, my blood. Aurelian royalty has a key to the old seal. Ethan understood. If the machine captured her, the whole planet would fall. And without her SOS, no one would have ever known. He looked ahead, determination growing. Then let's stop it. Together. Lyra turned, surprised and hopeful. Yes, she whispered. Together. The path to the Dark Tower was nothing like the glowing beauty of the rest of Aurelia. As Ethan and Princess Lyra stepped out of the crystal tunnel, the world changed around them. The sky above the tower was black and cracked with red lightning. The ground was dry, sharp, and broken, as if life itself had been ripped away. Ethan felt the air grow heavy with every step. Even breathing felt harder. Lyra placed a hand on the ground, and the blue marks on her skin dimmed as if the planet was losing its strength through her. "This place drains us," she whispered. "My people cannot come here. Our bodies break. Our minds crack." She looked at him with quiet fear. "But humans, your energy is different. You can stand where we fall." Ethan didn't feel brave, but he nodded. "Then lead me as far as you can. I'll do the rest." They moved toward the tower's base, stepping over twisted metal, broken stones, and old ruins left by the ancient empire. Ethan noticed scorch marks on the walls, signs of past battles. Many had tried to stop the machine. None survived. When they reached the entrance, the massive doors opened on their own. A deep hum rolled out like the growl of something waking up. Lyra grabbed his arm. "This tower tests every mind. It shows fear, pain, memories. You must keep walking, no matter what you see." Ethan gave a small smile. "Memories can't kill me." Lyra shook her head. "But they can break you." He stepped inside. Instantly, the air shifted. Lights flickered. The temperature dropped. The corridors stretched endlessly like a nightmare hallway. Shadows on the walls moved even though nothing was there. Ethan felt something crawling inside his thoughts, whispering, searching, trying to find weakness. The first illusion came fast. He saw Earth burning. He saw the observatory destroyed. He saw himself alone, screaming as everything he loved turned to ash. He shut his eyes and kept walking. Then another illusion. Princess Lyra crying, reaching for him as something dragged her away. He reached out, but his hand passed through empty air. He clenched his fists. "They are not real. Keep going." The tower didn't stop. He saw his old failures, his regrets, all the moments he wished he could redo. He saw the people he lost. He saw himself failing Lyra, failing Aurelia, failing everyone. His knees trembled. His chest felt tight. The illusions acted like claws around his heart. But then he remembered the princess's voice. "You have a heart that does not break." He took a deep breath and forced himself forward. One step, then another. The illusions shattered like glass. The corridor ended, opening into a huge chamber with a bright core pulsing in the center. A machine of light and darkness mixed together, alive and angry. The ground shook as a core tower awakened fully, reacting to his presence. Outside, Lyra stood at the entrance, tears in her eyes. "He made it," she whispered. "But now, the real fight begins." The core chamber felt alive, like a giant heart beating beneath the planet. Ethan stepped forward slowly, sweat running down his back. The machine in the center pulsed with dark red light, each flash sending a shockwave through the ground. He could feel it watching him. The ancient device spoke without a voice. The room vibrated with a deep, cold presence. "You do not belong here." The words weren't heard. They were felt like a punch inside his mind. Ethan clenched his jaw. "I don't care. I'm here to shut you down." The machine responded with a violent burst of energy. The shockwave threw Ethan across the floor. He rolled, coughing, but pushed himself back up. His vision blurred, but he stayed standing. Outside the chamber, Princess Lyra watched from the doorway. She couldn't enter. The energy would crush her body. But she pressed her hands to the barrier, whispering his name. "Ethan, please, stay alive." The machine extended long metallic arms made of light and metal, cracking with energy. They swung toward Ethan with deadly speed. He dodged one, then another, but the third struck him on the shoulder, knocking him down again. Pain shot through his body. The machine spoke again. "Humans are weak. You will break." Ethan struggled to stand. His legs shook. His breath was short. But he remembered the hologram of Lyra's tear-streaked face. He remembered the glowing forests outside. He remembered the life he saw on this planet, life worth saving. I'm not here because I'm strong, he said through clenched teeth. I'm here because someone needed me. With shaking hands, he pulled out the crystal key. It glowed brighter than before, reacting to the machine's energy. The core roared in anger. That key cannot stop me. Ethan ran forward anyway. Metal arms smashed into the ground around him. Explosions of red sparks filled the air. The temperature rose like fire. But he didn't stop. Every step felt impossible, but he forced his body to move. He reached the platform beneath the core. The machine screamed, sending a final wave of pure force meant to crush him. Ethan pushed against it, yelling from pain and effort. Then, he slammed the crystal key into the machine's central slot. The entire tower exploded with light. White fire rushed through every crack, every wall, every circuit. The machine roared like a dying beast. Energy burned around Ethan, wrapping his body in blinding brilliance. Lyra screamed from the entrance. Ethan! The core collapsed inward, folding like a star imploding. The tower shook violently. Crystals shattered. The ground cracked open. When the light finally faded, the chamber fell silent. Smoke drifted through the air. The machine was destroyed. Ethan lay on the ground, still, motionless, covered in ash and glowing dust. Lyra ran to him the moment the energy barrier dropped. She fell to her knees beside him, hands shaking as she touched his face. He saved us, all of us, she whispered, tears falling. Aurelia was safe, but Ethan had not moved. Then, a weak breath escaped his lips. Lyra gasped, pressing her forehead to his. You came back, she whispered with trembling joy. My brave human, you came back. Ethan woke slowly, like rising from deep water. His body felt heavy, his chest burned with every breath, and the world around him glowed softly. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Then he heard her voice. Ethan, can you hear me? Princess Lyra sat beside him, her eyes bright with worry and relief. She gently held his hand, afraid that if she let go, he would fade again. When Ethan blinked and focused on her face, she smiled, a real, warm, shaking smile. You're alive, she whispered. You really came back to me. Ethan tried to sit up, but Lyra placed a soft hand on his shoulder. Rest. The machine is destroyed. Aurelia is safe. Outside the healing chamber, the skies had already changed. The dark clouds were gone. Silver light filled the air. The floating islands glowed again. The planet breathed like a living dream waking from a nightmare. A group of Aurelian guardians bowed as Ethan passed, admiring him with respect and disbelief. A human, small, fragile compared to their kind, had done what no Aurelian could. Some whispered the word savior. Others whispered chosen. But Lyra stayed close, holding him as they walked through the gardens where flowers bloomed in colors no human had ever seen. Finally, they reached a quiet cliff overlooking the shining rivers. Ethan sat down slowly. The breeze was cool, soft, and alive. Lyra sat beside him, not as a princess, but as someone who had almost lost the one person who answered her cry. She looked at him for a long moment. You crossed the stars for me, she said softly. You risked your life for a world that was not yours. Ethan smiled weakly. Someone sent me an SOS, and I couldn't ignore it. Lyra's eyes softened, glowing like blue fire. I sent that call for help, but I didn't expect someone with your heart to answer. She reached out and touched his cheek gently, her fingertips warm with energy. Ethan, humans were never supposed to come here. But now that you are here, I don't want you to leave. Ethan swallowed, feeling something warm rise inside him. Your planet needs you. You don't need me. She shook her head. A world can be saved by strength. But a heart is saved by someone who cares. For the first time, Ethan saw her not as a princess, but a person who had carried fear alone for too long. Someone who trusted him more than anyone in her life. She leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. I fell in love with the human who saved my world. Ethan's breath caught. His heart raced. He looked at her, truly looked, and realized something simple and undeniable. He didn't want to leave either. He took her hand, fingers intertwining with hers. Then maybe, he said softly, I was meant to hear your SOS. Lyra smiled, a smile brighter than the stars above them. Together, they watched the reborn sky of Aurelia, a princess who found hope, a human who found purpose. Two worlds joined by one signal. Their story was no longer about saving a planet. It was about saving each other.